Well, it's been a long 2 days. You know what? I said to Amy, I said, oh my God. I said, we had a ton of stuff to talk about. I wasn't able to do a video because it was dark going over to Ohio. I said, I'll do one today. I woke up this morning. It was pouring rain. And I mean, it was a little misty. We were going by the half in the first set and it opened up. I'm going to tell you one thing. It poured like a summer thunderstorm this morning, and I mean torrential downpour. Everybody was saturated. Now, Amy and I went back home after that. Everybody else had to jog the horses. It rained a bit. It stopped. It started all morning. It was just horrible. So we got the first set over with. We delayed the rest of the sets till tomorrow morning. So Thursday morning we have to start doing the sets at, it's very important, Thursday we have to start doing the sets at 8 o'clock in the morning because at 11 a.m. we have to leave for Pennsylvania. Have to. Had some errands to do, picked up some liniments for a couple of caretakers that we can't get, the stuff we can't get over in Canada. Just different types of liniments. And then Harry needed a set of hobbles for Procrastinator because he broke a hobble the other day in his schooler. James said he never even noticed the hobble was broken until he finished the mile. So that's how long his hobbles are, and two, he was still pacing very good, obviously, for James not to even notice the hobble was broken. So I haven't got a chance to talk to you guys since Looks Like Money. It's Wednesday afternoon. It feels like I haven't talked to you in a month, and it's been 48 hours. So obviously Looks Like Money was fantastic. Got a great trip with that horse the other night. I knew what was going to happen. I knew that Sylvain was probably going to go out of there. Scott Young, knowing that HP Mama B hadn't, I remember saying this though, so I must have said it after the race. HP Mama B hadn't raced in a month. He was going to probably go easy. Now, the easy thing to do for Scott Young would be to take your time, remove to the front, let her rest, and win the race easily under wraps. That would be your trip if you're Scott. I knew that he would let Sylvain go, so it looked like I was going to duck in the 3-hole. I just kept coming. And when I cleared to the front, I opened up like 3 lengths. Knowing that at that point I was going 27-4, probably a half, and 56 and a piece. When I knew we were getting close enough to the half that Scott couldn't move, without me stretching him quite a bit, I started to throttle back Looks Like Money. I couldn't hear him coming. I knew I was going to get a little bit of a breather for that class, for those types of horses. 27-4, 57-1 in what is shaping up to be the preferred trot right now, I guess, was pretty good fractions. So we get over the half, 57-1. Now at this point, I've never driven Looks Like Money. I don't know how good he is. I know he looks good, but again, this is HP Mama B. This is a preferred trotter, an open type horse, a horse that's trotted in 51-8. This is a top of the food chain type trotter for Ontario, especially this time of year. So he wheels up alongside me. Now at this point, I'm thinking, I've got the best trip, but I don't know if I have the best horse. He had me headed coming out of the turn, and this is a good horse. He had me by a good head or more, maybe even a quarter of a length coming out of the turn. And yes, HP Mama B got tired, but he had to fight back to beat that horse. White Tiger was coming on the outside. These are 2 aged horses, and for him to fight on and win like that, himself being off 2 weeks, was a massive mile. White Tiger finished up good to be second. Track was a little sticky, and Tiger's Tiger. He raced good. Now, the only problem with Tiger, the only thing that's unfair to Tiger is they didn't fill the backup class. After we went under the wire, after watching Resolute Bay race good, after watching Stay Close, after getting a full feel for what is going on with our stable right now, at least in Canada, I thought, knowing that Locatelli is still in Pennsylvania, knowing that they're having trouble finding preferred trotters, okay, what are we going to do? Let's put Looks Like Money in Resolute Bay in the open trot. White Tiger should be able to fit in the backup class. Stay Close fits the class he does for 2 more starts on that purse money he raced for. Eldie's Patrick, I believe, I said to you, I remember making this video now, I said to you, is 1, maybe 2 starts from the winner's circle, but he's on the right path. So I'm happy with what I see. Comes out today, the race office calls. Can't get a hold of Harry. The backup class isn't going to fill. The open trot, the preferred trot, is going to have the same crew that was in with Looks Like Money. Problem is, you can't race 3 in the same class. That's a rule. So you can't. They cap it at 2, which I even hate 2. I don't want to race. You guys know my feeling on this, but we're in a different time. We're in a time where we've got enough good horses that we're having a tough. It's a good problem to have. It's actually not a good problem to have. It's good to have nice horses, but it sucks that they have to race against each other. It sucks that we don't have classes for all of them. And with what went on with Yes, sending Yes down to Dover, you guys are seeing the problem now. It's not just Ontario. Ohio, they can't fill classes in some classes. Pennsylvania, they're short all the time. Ohio, now Miami Valley races for more money, so I suspect they're going to have lots of full classes there. We'll talk about Miami Valley in a minute also. So, what are we going to do? Everybody keeps talking about now. I want to put something to rest right now. One, somebody messaged me about entering Looks Like Money in the Graduate. Of course we are going to enter Looks Like Money into races next year. You know, do I think he can race against aged horses? I'd rather not. The Graduate Series, yes, it's for 4-year-olds. I get it. But there's a lot of them around too. But he's proven that he's actually got some moxie. He's got some pop to him. He clearly has lots of fight to him. So, okay. How do we make it good so that we race Looks Like Money with more than enough time to have him ready for June if we were going to race him in the Graduate? You'd have to have him ready a month before. You can't just, it's not an overnight event where you just qualify him and, oh, he's ready, we'll just race him now. You have to have him tight and physically at his top when when that race hits. So he'd have to be ready for May 1st. So that means you would have to rest in March, April, train him back, have him ready first week in May. In a perfect world. So I'll talk to Harry a bit more about that, but that's likely what we're aiming for. Now, I hear everybody else saying, oh, we have to have Renegade Gypsy and Resolute Bay. The Ontario Graduate Series, guys, please. Right, before you start looking at the other side of the fence, the grass is so much greener over there. Keep in mind what you're racing for right now. Right? Resolute Bay, truthfully speaking, is as good as any preferred horse right now. HP Mama B, maybe because of what she's done, but Looks Like Money is not much better, if any better, than Resolute Bay right now. And I think both are just maybe a hair better than White Tiger, depending on the trip, the draw, and everything else. If Tiger's on his game, he's an aged horse, yes, maybe, but they're very, very similar. So to think that we're going to have Resolute Bay ready and he's just going to crush this 4-year-old Graduate Series, who cares? It goes for $75,000 plus added money. You are racing for half that virtually right now, a third of it. You're racing for $28,000. What do you go for the other day, 25? Anywhere from 25 to 34, he is eligible to win those classes right now. He is good enough to win. I don't know what the Graduate for 4-year-old trotters is going to look like. There were lots of gold trotters last year. Nice horses. Twinbee Archie was a pretty nice horse, right? These are the horses that are eligible to that Graduate Series too. And I'm not saying Twinbee Archie or any other 4-year-old would crush Resolute Bay. But let's be clear. Get the money when you can. He is razor sharp right now. I said to Harry, what are we going to do? He said, well, the Graduate's in April. He's got time. You're right. He does. There's probably a way to make everybody happy. Why don't we just do what we've been doing with Kings County? Now, that's a slippery slope. I don't know anybody that could just, what if we just race him easy? Give him this week off, race him next week, race him 2 starts in a row, then give him a week or 2 off. I would hate to put this horse away knowing what he can do on the track right now. I was upset when I realized, in a perfect world, him and Looks Like Money and Resolute Bay would be in the preferred trot this week. White Tiger would race in the backup class. Just didn't work out. There was no backup class. Non-winners of 12 or 1350, I think, or 16 or whatever it was, is the lowest class eligible below the preferred. We get some really nice horses here. And it's a little tough. It's unfair to you. It's unfair to me. It's unfair to the horses to have to navigate them the way that we're doing. But it isn't just as easy as, well, we got to get them out of there. We're lucky. Locatelli is picked for 3rd out of the 8-hole in the handicap. And Combs Hanover is in there. By the way, Combs Hanover is no slouch either. There's good horses in Pennsylvania. There's good horses in Ohio. There's good horses, Ohio. Northfield. There's good horses in Miami Valley. There's a shortage of horses almost everywhere, and we need to understand that moving forward. I'm doing my best, but we don't want to make any knee-jerk reactions. Turning Resolute Bay out and turning your nose up to a lot of money he's going to raise for it, and keep in mind, please, he has done such a good job, but if you think the preferred trot or the backup class right now is the same way it's going to look in May and June, then you are completely incorrect. There's going to be some real deep waters ahead for these horses. So if they're going to let us race in some softer fields right now, take advantage of that when you can. Make hay when the sun shines. So we're left trying to navigate when are we going to turn them out, where we're going to race them, what track we're going to race them at, who we're going to race against. Where are all our horses going to race? So when we took it all into account here, he said, yeah, Resolute Bay is probably the horse to rest. He's razor sharp right now. But, man, it just seems like he never gets tired. Ever. The horse, he honestly looked as good as he ever did in his life last week. He didn't go as fast, but when have you seen him dominate on the front, win with the earplugs in, look sound, look sharp, with the bit drop way back in his jaw, going under the wire? That horse has never been as good as he is right now, which is shocking. But as I keep saying to everybody, each horse is different, case by case basis. So I think we have to understand what month we're in, what the opens, the backup classes, what the classes look like that we're racing against, how they will change quite a bit over the coming months. Understand where we're at, what we're doing, what's available to us, what isn't. All in all, I think our trainers are doing a tremendous job. Obviously, Harry's having the time of his life racing these horses. He's done such a great job with them. So's Dominic. He's got Stay Close dialed in. That horse was amazing the other night. I said to James after, he goes, I just think he's running out a little bit more. We got to do this. I said, I know what we have to do for sure is move the horse. We have to move him. Like, you can't get locked in with him. You have to move him to the outside and come forward. Stay Close is sitting on a big mile. He's getting back to good. A couple little minor changes that I didn't really think would make that much of a difference appeared to make a massive difference in that horse. For anybody watching the race, in the same level of frustration that I was, somebody said, oh, James, I can't believe you didn't move him. It's really hard to be upset with James. One, he's a leading driver in Canada. Two, he's done pretty good by us all year long. So even I, who can be his biggest critic sometimes, have to cut the kid some slack. Yes, I wasn't happy with the way he's driven Stay Close, but he's driven almost all of our horses well. He didn't hurt Stay Close, he just got locked in with him. I can almost guarantee you he won't be locked in next week. How's that? I can almost guarantee you he won't be locked in next week. So I guess it is a good problem to have. We have a lot of really good horses that are racing really good. Now that leads to 2 points. Good segue to 2 points. One, the Meadowlands sale is canceled. They didn't have enough entries. So you want to know how hard it is to find a good horse? It's hard enough that nobody wants to sell theirs. How's that? So I suspect when you open your computers on Friday morning, you're going to see a lot of pricey animals for sale, because there are people that are waiting to capitalize on. A lot of people are hungry for that January sale. I think the preferred sale is going to be stacked over the next 2 weeks, and I think we should be looking at those horses. Now, full disclosure, the coffers are going to get a little tight as we head into Wednesday, every Wednesday, as we head into February, March, April, staking months. So for us to buy these horses, and I won't know who they were will be till Friday, but if you want to drop me a line, there's a lot of you out there that were waiting for I was waiting for the Meadowlands sale, so were you, of course you were. So if you're waiting for the Meadowlands sale and waiting for a couple of high-end horses, whether they be pacers or trotters, drop me a line, we'll make a list, because I can almost guarantee you come Friday, when we open up that preferred website, when it opens up, there's going to be a number of horses there that all of us are very, very interested in. Now, we can't overpay for them just because they're now offered in a smaller setting. But at the same token, there's going to be a lot of horses that we're very interested in purchasing. If you want to be on that list, if you want to be a part of that group, then let me know. Now, this isn't blindly me saying, if you want to be a part of that group, let me know. I will let everybody know what horses we're looking at. But I can assure you, if your name is on a list, those people will be talk to first. I can't just go on and make a video and say, Horse X, I'm really interested in this horse on Monday. We have almost 1,000 clients on this, on YouTube, or in our stable. So we have almost 1,000 clients that are our partners. Our YouTube channel is subscribed to by over 1,600 people. So you do the math. There's a lot of people watching our videos that are not stable clients. And I can't just pull my pants down on the camera and say, hey, we're looking at hip number 14 Monday on Preferred. So it's not that I want to segregate these lists and say only these people we're talking to. I really just can't send a video out to everybody, because everybody watching this, some of you may want to buy the horses yourselves also. I'm well aware of that. So if you want to be a part of what will be likely over the next 2 sales at Preferred, a pretty strong showing, I think, of horses, then let me know, and we'll get to looking at what we can do and where we can do it and who we can buy. Now, I hope you understand, and I have to be upfront, but I don't want it to deter anybody also, but I have to be truthful and transparent with everybody. You know, if we go and buy a high-priced trotter, where are we going to race it? That's a good question. Eventually, I suspect Resolute Bay will need a little time. Looks like Money will need a little time. Locatelli will probably come back. I can tell you what we need. We need an open trotter at Northfield Park, which is kind of specific because it's a half-mile track specialist type horse. They race for 19 or 20,000 every week. They get in every single week. And this time of year, they're a little light also. So we need a half-mile track specialist type trotter for the open here at Northfield. That's what we need. Meadows, we could use one there also. They go for like 21,000 on tomorrow with Locatelli. The plan would be a little bit of rest for these guys. White Tiger hang out in the backup class. And of all the horses, I think what we could do, and I know I'm hesitant because I want to see what their classes look like in the new year. If we send White Tiger to a place like the Meadowlands, and just so we're clear, he would likely be going to Megan. Where would he race? Could he race consistently, and how do we keep him out of the open? He's not an open trotter there. I don't want to find the same problems in the Meadowlands that we found in Mohawk, where, okay, he wins 2 races, now he goes up and gets his face smashed in the open trot. Then he had, the backup class didn't fill, so we made it an open handicap this week, and we gave White Tiger the rail, so he can get his face smashed in from the rail. We need to be able to stay in the backup class, and as I said to Amy, and I know she doesn't want to hear this, and you guys know that, but I have to do what's right for everybody. If there was like a 90 or 100 claimer tagged onto, even an 80 to be truthful because it's in U.S. funds, tagged onto the Meadowlands backup class, that would be a good play. If he could do in that class, a horse like him, that would be a good spot. When Yonkers opens up, do we have anything for Yonkers? Yes, we do. Of course we do. Now, that is a segue into what we also have right now too, is a claiming series going on in Miami Valley. And I know Stacy has reached out and said there's a 12-5 claiming series. 12-5, I think it's a progressive where it's 12-5 up, I believe. And there's a 20 also. Now, we could put Sailor in there, which he may, I suppose, if they believe he can do in that class, which I think he can. I think he's worth a little bit more than that, but we're not going to bounce around the conditions, getting beat up sometimes, whether he made a break. Now he's got the 9-hole tomorrow. We need to find a better spot for Sailor. If it's that claiming series, fine. I think for 20, they'd scoop him up right away, but I don't think I think him and a number of other horses are a 20 to 30 claimer type right now, right? Like a Macho Martini, same type of thing. I'll talk about him in a second. So we want to see what's eligible to that claiming series. Next, you can talk about Macho Martini. Somebody sent me a message, says, where's Macho Martini? He's entered in, he didn't get in this week, so I entered him in the amateur race at Northfield, and I know what's coming. It hasn't popped up yet. I don't think he'll get around a half. Well, he's going to have to. Because he too, I know everybody, there are some clients and partners of mine that believe that Macho Martini is somehow going to find the open someday, and he's not. He's just not. Not from castration, not from changing his hobbles, or changing the trainer or the driver. He's an okay horse. He's very similar to Sailor, about a 20 to 30 claimer. That's what he is. There's nothing wrong with that. To say he can't get around a half, yeah, he runs in. Is he going to get around a half? I didn't have a problem with him on the turns at the 5/8. He does run in. We can help him a little bit with that. It's not a problem. Put a line pole on him. I don't think I'd go to a head pole. I think he'd lay too much on it. And he's here now. Jason jogged him this morning, I believe. I saw him off the track anyway. So he'll be in Sunday at Northfield Park. And for those of you saying, well, he needs a bigger track. No, he doesn't. He needs a place where he can win. Now, if he can't get around Northfield, fine. We'll scratch Northfield off the list. But he needs a place he can race consistently. And Ontario does not have consistency in any way, shape, or form. If you happen to do well in the non-winners of 5, all that's waiting for you is the non-winners of 12, and he will get destroyed in the non-winners of 12. He can't do in there. So I have zero interest, very, very little interest in bringing Macho Martini down. Now, we could race him in the class that stay closest in, horses that have raced for a class less than 15,000 or 10,000 their last 5. Fine, you could talk me into that maybe. But you'd have to show me how he could win it, because he can't beat Stay Close right now. And Stay Close could beat his last start, although let's not talk about that. Don't want to open that wound again. So what else we got? I had a little list I want to talk about here. Talked about Ohio. We're in Ohio right now. We're going to go with the babies again tomorrow morning. 5 sets tomorrow. We only got 1 set in today in the absolute pouring rain. I'm going to head over to Pennsylvania. We got a number of horses racing tomorrow. We get some horses racing on Friday. I'm going to race Grace, Patrick de Piranha. Absolute Euphoria is in to go in Ontario. I think we have 7 in tomorrow. I talked about the Meadowland sale. It's canceled. No, big piece of information. Stonebridge Acadi is scratched tonight. Simple reason being, it's very simple. He's entered in the wrong class. Now, when we brought him over here and raced him in the optional claimer, he went for 22,000. I thought 30,000 for him, I think, is pretty fair right now. And then he went out and raced great, and I said, geez, that's a good spot for him. I never really thought about it. Jason didn't either. I called Jason. I said, he lost 25% of allowance. He goes, oh, you think they'll claim him? I said, I'd claim him. For $18.75, the way he raced the other day, I'd claim him. So we scratched him. We'll scratch him. I think we got fined for it. It was an honest mistake. I mean, I'm sure we're not the first people to do that. But I don't want to race him in that class. He can race in the class Dustin Hanover's in. He fits that on the conditions, so that should be a much, much better place for him. And when it comes time to put him in a claimer, I don't have trouble doing that. But why would we lose him tonight when he can win 3, 4, 5 classes, I think 5 times in those other classes with a tag on him as you get closer to him, saying, okay, now he's got to win tougher company. And the beauty of him is when he does get up, say he does win 5 races, and you're like, oh, he's out of that class now. Now you can bring him back to Ontario and race him in a class where he still fits. 1, he's Ontario bred, so he gets a lot more allowance. And 2, they go by money in Ontario, not by wins. So he might have 6 parimutuel wins and 48,000 made. You bring him to Ontario, you can race him in the numbers of 25,000 at Mohawk. And I think it's pretty clear that Stonebridge Acadi is getting better. So that's the plan with Stonebridge Acadi. He scratched tonight. Talked about the Meadowland sale, talked about Pennsylvania a little bit, moving Macho Martini out of there. We raced Gemstone Ruby Rose today. Dave Palone said, running in a little bit, got out of gear, bumpy in the turns. I don't know how talented she is. I think that's a pretty fair assessment. We had to do all our due diligence with this filly. I think she's probably going to go up for sale in the preferred sale. We're not going to get a lot for her, but at the end of the day, you know, how can I make an argument to have horses like Grace up for sale and not put a Gemstone Ruby Rose up for sale? We have to keep trimming the fat, especially when we know what's about to happen. 1, staking is coming, and more importantly, we have horses that we want to purchase. So using some of the capital, moving some of these horses that aren't going to compete for us right now and putting it towards, now obviously Gemstone Ruby Rose's sale money is not going to make a big dent in a purchase of like a looks like money type trotter or an equivalent type pacer. But at the same time, every dollar counts, and the people that own Gemstone Ruby Rose may want to put their money towards it. So I know it didn't work out well. You know, I did what I could with those horses that were sent to us last year, but they just weren't good enough. There's nothing wrong with that. It happens all the time. So Macho Martini is in to go at Northfield. We talked about him. Talked about the little red guy. He's going to miss a week, Resolute Bay. I think this, at the very least, this is a good way to keep him fresh. Obviously, Harry has no trouble keeping him tight because he was off 2 weeks his last start. And as I said, and I think you'll agree, I don't know that I've ever seen him look as dominant and as good as he did the other day. The sale, now our sale, I'll end this video with our sale. It went very, very well for us the other day. Somebody sent me a message, said, how many new clients did you get? And I never thought about it. I asked, we got 10. We ended up with 10 new clients from the sale. I think overall it was a learning experience for everybody. For the people that didn't sell their lots, maybe they were started a little high. It's easy for me to preach it before the sale, but it's something quite different to understand it afterwards as they went on. The people that had started the shares very low, much, much lower than the horses were worth. A horse like Nothing But a Dreamer, I believe the person that sold Nothing But a Dreamer, that horse maybe started at $480 or $500 maybe, and then ended up going for $1,200 because there was eyeballs on that particular lot, because people are like, wow, that horse is really worth it. Then as they get bidding on the horse, they say, okay, what's that horse worth to me? What am I willing to pay for that one share or that horse in this particular instance? So that is how the auctions work. I think there's probably an appetite to have another one somewhere down the road, whenever that is, whenever that makes the most sense for us. I don't know. We never really have to have an auction. We have one every day on the back end of our site. And I think the shares that are moved on the back end of our site were very reflective of the sale and purchase prices on Preferred the other day. The one thing that I think didn't work, and I don't really know why, were the bundles. I saw some bundles that made a lot of sense in there that had a lot of good horses in them, whether it be Steve's, who had like 1% of 10 different horses, or 1 or 2% of 10 different horses, nice horses, and didn't get anywhere near where they probably should have. After about the third one that didn't sell, I'm like, what's going on here? And I went in and I added up what I thought they were worth, and in one case in particular, it was just over twice what wasn't even bid on the bundle. So I think in that regard, people new to the stable, either people that are in the stable, you, our partners in the stable, didn't particularly want to bring on those shares. And for the new people to the stable, or potential new clients, I think that maybe there just wasn't a ton of interest, or maybe not a lot of understanding what that meant. Keep in mind, if you're in a horse racing and somebody offers you 1% of 8 horses, a lot of people just turn their nose up at it and say, I'm not a 1% guy. But if they get into the stable and get to know us and get to know the community and understand how it works, really doesn't matter if you own 1% or 13%. Neither are going to buy you a yacht. One will get you just as much happiness as the other one. Now, if you truly believe in a horse and you want to gather shares up of the horse, fine. But 1% is not a bad starting point. It's just a hard sell to people that are not already existing Stable.ca clients. And quite frankly, some people in the Stable.ca wouldn't go for that also. So maybe it's just that we don't have the knowledge or understanding of the people looking at it, of what a bundle would mean to them. Or maybe there's just no interest in them. That's the big takeaway for me was, one, it was a good learning experience for us as a group and for the Preferred Equine, for everybody. Dave Reed and his staff worked diligently to put this sale on, and very, very appreciative of that, because I too was interested how it was going to go off. I think it was learning for you. A lot of you out there that maybe priced your horses a little high understand now why it was important to start them much, much lower. It's hard to look at your horse and say that share is worth $500 or $600 or $1,000 or whatever have you, and then start it at 40% of that. It's hard to do that. It's hard to be okay with that. Maybe now that you're a little more comfortable with that system also, that will help moving forward. So a big takeaway, a number of takeaways for all of us from the experience with the Preferred Equine online sale. I thought we had a lot of fun. We sold, I think, about half, or maybe a little more than half of the shares actually sold, which sounds low when you're selling 275, but really when you break it down, of the horses that didn't sell, well over half of them were just simply priced too high to get any interest from people. So what you ended up with was half the sale selling, and of the other half the sale, half of them, so a quarter of the sale, was probably unpurchasable or unbiddable. No, it's not a word, but unbiddable for the general public or for some people. And then there were some horses that just didn't sell. So we can take a look at the data. I know that Preferred is going to look at the data closely. I think that Kelly and I and Wendy and everybody else involved with the stable also going to look at the data closely to see if we can make improvements, to see if it makes more sense for us moving forward. But a good takeaway from the sale was we garnered 10 new clients. So 10 new people that weren't clients of the Stable.ca before Monday were on Tuesday. So that's good. 2, it gave everybody an opportunity to maybe price their horses, maybe look at what their shares are worth, and maybe get involved with some horses. I saw some people that bought 1% of Sintra right? For maybe even a little more than he was worth, but at the same token, a fair amount. And they got to be involved with a horse that's going to race in the open pace on Saturday evening. Right? You saw shares, although they didn't trade on Resolute Bay. I saw the lot was put 10 shares and put together. Mr. Calhoun put those up. That's kind of what the horse is worth. Now, I would have started him a little bit lower. That's a good takeaway again. Because he really probably should have got. That's what the horse is worth. For somebody to buy 10 shares of Resolute Bay for $13,500, you just paid face value for the horse is all you did. Anyway, thought it was a great sale. I think we know where the weaknesses were in the sale and why they were weak, why they didn't work out. The bundles were a little bit of an enigma, even for me. I'm a little surprised that they didn't sell, but I guess I can see why. Maybe it just wasn't as appealing to even me as it would have been to somebody outside the stable. So that's an interesting takeaway. Maybe all that was needed in that regard is a little more information, a little more education in the bundle, allow people to think about it and maybe marinate in it a little while and then make a decision. So maybe it was that 3-day, that 72-hour window that caused a little bit of discrepancy in that regard. I don't know. Anyway, for tonight, I got Dustin Hanover. I'm going to race. It stopped raining, but it's supposed to keep raining a little bit up till 8 o'clock. So as long as the rain isn't coming out of the sky when I go on the track with Dustin, I'll be okay. We're going to get up tomorrow, Amy and I and the kids again. Going to go at it again. Going to train 35 horses. 35 horses tomorrow. There were some castrated that we gave the day off to that weren't training this week. They'll obviously still have the day off tomorrow. They'll jog, they just won't train. So we'll train 5 sets tomorrow, then off to Pennsylvania. We got 4 in Pennsylvania tomorrow. I think Atlas is racing. We have 7 horses. Matt's MVP and My 1% is racing tomorrow. He trained very good this week, by the way. Now, I know James is going to be pretty gentle with him tomorrow, but that's the first time I sat behind My 1% in quite a while. Very, very impressed with him training the other day. He did tie up in his last start, but it was a minor tie up, and I don't think it'll be repeated this week. So we'll see how he is tomorrow. Just so much going on right now. I guess the biggest news of the day is that the Meadowlands sale is canceled, and we will be probably active on Monday in the next sale on January the 9th. So if you want to be a part of that January the 9th sale, what I mean is buying a horse or 2 out of it, then start dropping me a line and letting me know you want to be on a list, because I suspect there'll be a number of very high-profile names in that sale. So with that, 33 minutes, I'll let you guys go. I'll talk to you all very soon. Sorry for being a little bit out of touch. I was a little stuffed up yesterday. Feel better today. You can still hear it in my voice a little bit. Feel much better today. Gonna race in the mud tonight. Train, race for the rest of the week. I'll be home Saturday. I got Sintra to drive on Saturday night. Monday, we got another strong grouping of horses Indigo Monday. We'll see how that plays out. But for now, hope you guys had a great start to the week. I will talk to you all very soon again, I promise. Take care.